Hey, everybody. Today's topic is another heavy one. Apologies. We're talking about divorcing, um, and how we can do that without traumatizing the kids. Most of the time, when people think about divorce, they think about um, incredible, the incredible cost that divorce often um, asks of us. And I would like to be the one to tell you that it doesn't have to traumatize your kids. It doesn't have to traumatize you. It it isn't necessarily the easiest transition, but there are ways to make it easier, and there are ways to navigate divorce without putting the kids in the middle and without causing severe trauma to everybody involved. Um, it takes an incredible amount of consciousness. But if both parents can get together at the beginning and kind of make some commitments to each other, some divorce commitments, just like you might in the case of a marriage, you can make some divorce commitments to each other, and you can make them as a family unit as well. And then you can work on working through the plan together. Now, that would be best case scenario, and sometimes we're not in the best case scenario. Sometimes we are navigating divorce with somebody who is really angry with us, or we are navigating divorce with somebody who is okay with putting the kids in the middle and doesn't know how to regulate beyond that, or can't see far enough in advance that they're willing to make some of those sacrifices. So even if that's the case, though, even if one party is navigating divorce consciously, it can have an incredible effect on the whole family. Sometimes when I'm working with a family, I will only have access to one of the parents, and the other person doesn't want to be involved at all. And even in those cases, I've seen such incredible changes in the person that I'm working with, and they also report incredible changes in the court process. I've also had it happen where, I have only work with one parent at the beginning, and they start to see these changes in their co-parent, and then the other one eventually gets on board and starts working through the process with us. It is not easy, but it is possible to navigate divorce in a way that puts everybody's mental health first. And one of the things that we need to do is continually center ourselves and continually ask of ourselves to choose kindness, and to choose to do essentially the right thing, to choose to put the kids and our own mental health above getting back at the other person, above making your point, above getting revenge or getting what you want or whatever. What we want to do is foster this sense of compassion to ourselves and to the person that we are navigating the divorce with. And I know that can be such a challenge when you're at the height of what feels like one of the worst things in your life. And one of the ways that we can do that is by slowing it down. Sometimes when that initial split happens, it happens for really sad reasons. And so it's really easy to kind of want to be done with it and rush through the process. But rushing through that process, if we don't have to, can be really harmful. So one of the things that can really help is to slow down and to kind of get your bearings and let everybody kind of assimilate to the new way that the family operates. Another thing that I would suggest in most cases is doing as much as you can together. And now this isn't, I wouldn't recommend this in cases of abuse or in cases where you're worried about your safety, certainly not. But in cases where you just are no longer wanting to be married to that person, and you realize that you're not going to be a healthy family unit anymore, looking at things like helping that person find another place, and figuring out which toys you're going to bring to which house, and looking at it as our houses versus your dad's house or your mom's house or whatever. If we can work it out amicably, creating a sense of our family unit in two houses is much better on the kids than your house, my house, or dad's time and mom's time. We want to continue the idea as much as we can that we are still a family unit, that we still care about each other, but we are healthier apart. And we still want what's best for each other, and we still want we still wish for the best for everybody involved, even though we are healthier apart. That would be a best case scenario, and it is possible to achieve, even if there's been really painful things that have come up in the marriage. There are, caveats to this and cases in which this approach won't work for you, but in so many cases it can, and in so many cases it can save you from so much sadness and save your kids from so much sadness. When we can put our focus on helping everybody navigate this next step of our family or this next season of our family life, and focus on the emotional regulation skills and the emotional tools that we need to navigate that well, it goes so much better. The other thing that makes a lot of sense in cases where it can be done would be to look at the different routines that you can maintain that are part of the family life. So in situations where it is possible, figuring out a way where whoever is the working parent and whoever is the parent who does most of the caring can still sort of navigate some of those family routines that you might have had, so that there are not so many changes at once for the kids. Part of what makes the divorce process so traumatic is that almost always everything changes really quickly and nobody has any time to adjust to the differences in the family. And so, kids are crying and, one parent doesn't want to talk about the other parent, and it kind of leads to this like stuffing down of the feelings. But the best case scenario in a divorce situation is that you could honor the fact you really miss dad, you really want to talk to him. Let's give him a call, let's do FaceTime. And that you could show up in compassion for your kids when they're missing the other parent. That you're helping the kids pick out birthday presents for their mom still. You're helping them process their feelings of sadness. It's so hard. You're really wanting to go back to where we all live in the same house. And we can't because we're just not able to do that in a way that's kind. Oh, this is so sad. Letting the sadness be, letting the feelings come up so that kids don't feel like they have to pick. We don't want our kids to feel like they have to pick between one parent or the other. We want our kids to be able to say what they need to say, process what they need to process, and we want them to have access to both parents. So many times in divorce, people can lose sight of what's best for the kids and take their anger out on the other parent through the court system. And it is such a tragic situation when that happens. So if you need help with this, please let me know. Probably you wouldn't be a good fit for group coaching, but private coaching would work in these cases. And I'm kind of looking at this, I'm talking about this from like a very general standpoint. So if you need specifics for your situation, please DM me and we can talk about what would be the best steps for your particular situation. Because, divorce is certainly not one size fits all. And even if you feel like you couldn't navigate divorce in an amicable way, there are still things that you can do to make sure that your boundaries are honored so that you can start establishing those boundaries. And so you don't put the kids in the middle of that dispute. So I think I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I will get back to them as soon as I can. If you remember nothing else from what I've said today, just know that if you are working on the skills that we talk about here in this group, you can have such an impact on the outcome. And divorce does not have to be the biggest trauma that your kids have gone through or that you go through. It can actually be such a beautiful and incredible part of your life that your kids looking back will say, gosh, I'm glad that we did it that way. That is possible. I've done it myself, and I can tell you firsthand, it is incredible what is possible when you are using these skills. Sometimes we get into relationships that are just not for us, and we need to remedy that. And it doesn't have to be awful. It really doesn't. It can be the best possible gift you can give your family. And yeah, so if you're going through this, my heart goes out to you, but know that there's hope, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.